In today's video, we'll continue the previous session on averages. So, in this averages session, what we discussed in earlier classes, if anyone missed in the videos, can watch them and try to get the clarity of those missed videos. So, in today's session, we are going to see some of the concepts regarding this averages topic. So, let us try to see what is today's agenda is. So in today's agenda, we'll go with the introduction of the concept, and we are trying to introduce one concept based on this averages concept. And after the introduction topic, we are trying to give some examples in order to understand that basic concept. After that completion of examples and basic introduction part regarding that concept, we are trying to solve some of the problems based on this topic. So these are the points which we'll cover in this today's video. Okay, let's move into the introduction part. So, what is this method in today's method is? So, today we are going to solve a method called a circle method. Circle method. So, what are the different kinds of problems which we'll see in this circle method means? So, leaving, joining, replacement. These are the different kinds of problems, and also as well as the bowling average, batting average. These are the different kinds of problems which will be covered under this circle method. So all these different types like leaving, joining, replacement, bowling average, batting average type of problems will be covered under a name called circle method. So why we are implementing this circle method irrespective of the general methods or direct method approaches, that will be explained in the later cases or in just in the next slides here. So let us, in order to understand this concept, let us consider a basic example here. In order to understand this concept, let us consider a basic example here. So what he gave in the question is, so here is one question. The average weight of 30 students in a class is 90. So what he gave in the question is, there are 30 students in the class, and for those 30 students, average he gave it as 90 kgs. Next, if the weight of a class teacher is excluded, if the weight of a class teacher is excluded means removed from the list, then the average is decreased by 1 kg. The average is decreased by 1 kg. Then what is the weight of a teacher? So here, when what you gave in the question, there are 30 students. There are 30 students along with the teacher. That point is not mentioned clearly here. There are the average of 30 students along with the teacher in a class is 90 kgs. If that class teacher weight was excluded from the list, then the average is decreased by 1 kg here. So in traditional method, what we know the basic formula here, the basic formula we know is average is equals to sum divided by the total number of observations. So what is the sum here? So in order to, so number of observations he gave it as 30 here, number of observations he gave it as 30 here, and the average he gave it as 90 here. So from these two data we can find the sum of the given data here, sum of the given data. Next, what happen means if the class teacher is excluded. So initially there are 30 persons in the class. There are 30 persons in the class. Now the class teacher is excluded from the list. Now how many persons present in that class now means there are 29 persons or 29 students present in the class. Next, what he gave in the question, the average is decreased by 1 kg. The original average he gave it as 90 kgs, and now the average is decreased by 1 kg, which means the new average of 29 people will be how much means it will be like 89. So we need to multiply this 29 into 89 in order to get the sum as we done in the first point here. So that point we are writing here. So the we are trying to solve this one by using the general method here. So sum will be equals to average into number of observations. So the average he gave it as a 90 here, and the number of observations he gave it as a 30 here. So if we multiply these two values, we'll get the value of 2700. Next, what again the next point is the class teacher weight is excluded from the list, which means the class teacher is removed from the list, and the number of observations will become now 29, and the new average will become 89. Now we need to multiply in order to get the new sum. We need to multiply this average with the number of observations here. So what we'll get, we'll need to multiply 29 into 89. We'll get the answer as 2581. So for the time being, let us try to think that you are good at multiplications and divisions here. Next, we need to get the weight of a teacher. So this was the original sum, and this was a new sum here. So what is the difference between these two values here? So the difference between these two values will give the weight of a teacher. Of course, the weight of teacher not this much manner. For the example case, we are just taking this one here. Next, so the weight of teacher we got it as 119 kgs. So this is one way of solving by using the basic formula method. What we know the basic formula? The basic formula we know is average is equals to sum divided by the sum of observations divided by the total number of observations present in the given equation. So suppose if you practice more number of questions, if you practice more number of questions, then you will be able to solve this much portion of equation, this much portion of lines in a single line approach. So that method we call it as a direct approach method. So what we need in the question, actually we need the weight of a teacher. So weight of teacher, that will be equals to sum new minus sum old. So what is the sum new? This was this portion. The sum new is how much means 29 into 89. That will be equals to 2581. Next, sum old. What is the sum old? 29 into 30. Okay, 90 into 30. That will give the result. So here we are getting the answer as a negative here. So the weight of teacher you are getting it as a minus 119. So here we may think that sir, in this general method approach we are getting the answer in a positive manner, but if we go with the direct approach method we are getting the answer in negative manner. So why this happens, sir, means, so instead of that, we may able to take this some old minus some new, then we can get the answer in a positive. Some may think like that, but it is not like that. So why we are getting a negative symbol here means, why we are getting negative symbol here means, here the class teacher is excluded. Excluded means removed from the list. So when a person is removed from the list, or suppose let us consider an example that you are having 10 chocolates with him. You are having 10 chocolates with you, and you give one chocolate, or you give five chocolates to your brother or sister. You gave five chocolates to your brother. So now how many chocolates here do you have with you? How many chocolates do you have with you? So only five chocolates now. That's the same case here. So originally there are the sum was this much portion, and after removing that person, this much was a sum here. So that's why we are getting the negative symbol here. So what this negative symbol indicates means, when a person is excluded or removed from the list, we definitely get the sum as a negative. Sum as negative. So here the negative symbol indicates not. Negative symbol indicates that when a person is removed from the list, we definitely get the answer in a negative manner. So this is if we go with the general method approach, and this is we go with the direct approach. So what is the problem with this method? These two methods are easy for me. I can go with the general method or direct approach method only. So then what is the point of discussing this circle method here, sir? So some may have this doubt here. So here the problem is, here the why we are in why we are establishing the circle method means, the point of establishing the circle method is in order to avoid the calculations. So majority of the calculations will be eliminated. Majority of the calculation will be eliminated if we go with the circle method here. Suppose if you see here, we need to multiply 29 into 89. Suppose some of the students may not be good at multiplications here. So multiplying this 29 into 89 will take some time, and this will kill the sum. This will kills the time in solving the problems in the exams. So in order to avoid that complexity, we are trying to implement some different ways, or we are trying to implement different methods in order to avoid calculations here. So that method we call it as a circle method here. Whatever the problem, whatever the example we discussed in the previous slide. So this was the example we discussed in the previous slide. So this method I am trying to solve it in a simple manner here. Let us try to see how I am writing the values here. So how many students are present here? There are 30 students. And for those 30 students, the average here. So here we are taking the number of observations here, and we are taking the average here. So what we need to take here is, we need to take the number of observations here first, and then we need to and that was represented with the arrow mark, and we are taking the average was 90. Next, the teacher was excluded, which means one person was excluded from the list, and after that what will happen? There are 29 persons present in the list, and after that the average is also decreased by 1 kg. So the average is also decreased by 1 kg. Now this was the given data for us. So what we need to find? We need to find the weight of a teacher. So we are, what way is the method we call this method as? So this method we call it as a circle method here. So what we need to do is, whatever the value present here, this minus 1, that was multiplied with 89. minus 1 that was multiplied with 30. So what will give this one? So minus 1 into 89 minus 1 into 30, that will give the result as a minus 119. So as I said in the previous slides that here the negative symbol indicates when a person is excluded from the list, we definitely get the answer in a negative manner. I hope you are clear with this explanation, and if you are having any doubts with this, suppose see with this method how much time we are taking or how much calculation involved in this particular problem. We are trying to avoid majority of the calculations by simplifying the equation here. So the point of discussing the circle method is in order to avoid calculation, in order to get the answer in a quick manner, we are trying to establish this type of shortcut methods here. So try to habituate with this shortcut methods in order to get the answer. Suppose sometimes you may not strike with the circle method approach. So in that case, what you need to do, you need to go with the general method approach. Because not always this circle method is applicable, or not always the general method is easy manner. So that's why try to learn all the different possible methods in order to succeed in the exam and in order to solve every problem within the less time here. Okay, we are trying to move to the next problem here, next example problem here. So this was a, so for better understanding, we are considering one more example here. It's, so what I given the question is the mean or average both represents the same here. So the weight of 34 students gave it as 42 kgs. So there are 34 students, and for those 34 students, the average gave it as 42 kgs. And if the weight of a teacher is included, so now the teacher weight is included, which means initially there are 34 students only. After inclusion of teacher, there will be 35 students or 35 students along with the teacher present. And the mean rises. So mean rises means increases by 400 grams. So you need to be careful with the notations here, or you need to be careful with the units here. So this was given in kgs here, and this was given it in grams here. So you need to be careful while writing the data here. Next, what he asked in the question, find the weight of the teacher in kgs. So he asked us to find the weight of a teacher in kgs here. So we directly going with the circle method approach here. There are 34 students, and for those 34 students, the average he gave it as a 42. And after that, teacher was included, which means after inclusion of teacher, there will be 35 persons. And after that, what happened? The average is increased by 400 grams. So 400 grams I'm converting into the kgs form, so that I can write it as 0.4. So initially the average was 42, and now the average was increased by 4.4 kgs. So now it will become what? 42.4. So as with the circle method, plus 1 into 42.4 plus zero point 0.4 into 34 plus 4 in plus zero point 0.4 into 34. If we do that one, 1 into 42 plus 0.4 into 34, that will give the result as a 42.4 plus 13.6. So on combinedly, that will give the answer as a 56 kg. So here we are not getting any symbol. So if we are not getting any symbol means, or it must be a positive symbol must be present before that number. It indicates that what means, what it indicates that when a person is included in the list, we definitely get the answer in a positive manner. So if no symbol means, we'll definitely that there will be a positive symbol will be present that number. So I hope you are clear with this explanation. And with this explanation, and if you understand the concept regarding the circle method, try to solve this method. Okay, try to solve this problem and give the answer in comment section. So we'll continue in the next session with this problem. And if you are having any doubts regarding this problem, you may contact us on the support numbers provided here, or support mail is provided here. Have a good day. Thank you for watching this video. We'll meet in the next session.